If you're at all familiar with Far Cry 3, then you know it's not so much an adventurous vacation in tropical paradise filled with beautiful people as it is a violent, murderous, and occasionally drug-fueled struggle to survive in a flammable wilderness where most things want to kill you and/or eat you. It's a vicious world out there, which is why it's time for the Gun Show, the show that'll help you stay alive when you finally realize that it's just not that practical to C4 everything that moves.
You can't hide from me!
In this episode, we'll show you how to use your weapons and gear to slowly climb the Far Cry 3 food chain. Right now, you're like a moderately annoyed goat, but you'll be kicking like a cassowary by the end of this episode of The Gun Show. There are many historical, sociological, and ecological reasons why Rook Island is such a deadly place, but what the local scholars fail to account for in their myriad theories is free guns! Free guns! Free guns! That's right, folks. All you've got to do is scurry up a few radio towers and then head on over to pick up some free guns at gunpoint at your unfriendly neighborhood gun shop. Just about every radio tower you summit gives you new weapons and gear for free. 3 towers get you your first sniper rifle and the versatile recurve bow, and by the 8th tower, the rocket launcher, grenade launcher, and flamethrower have all lost their exorbitant price tags. So grab one of the local jalopies, drive at irresponsibly fast speeds over rough terrain, shimmy up those rickety towers, and save your cash for what really matters: bitchin' paint jobs. Nothing strikes fear into the heart of a pirate like a gun that looks like you bought it at Hot Topic. But for those of you who are A, fashion dunces, B, totally colorblind, or C, concerned with actually useful things, spending your money on gun upgrades is also worth it. Bigger tanks for the flamethrower mean you won't tear your rotator cuff throwing Molotovs while trying to burn down a totally reasonable guy's totally legal hemp growing operation. And sights, silencers, and extended magazines can all make each gun more gunly. Well, not each and every gun, as it turns out. The first gun in almost every category can't be customized, and even when it can, it's pretty much always worse than the alternatives. With the better options so readily available, the Gun Show cannot in good conscience recommend you actually use any of the surface skimmers. So what deep cuts await you in each category that are actually worth sticking in your holster? When it comes to pistols, you can go quiet, or you can go loud. The 6P9 with a silencer can be helpful in quietly clearing an outpost, especially when there are guard dogs patrolling the place. The 44 Magnum, on the other hand, announces your presence to one and all, and its stopping power is very useful when one and all is coming straight for you. It's also the perfect choice for when you want to stride out into the outpost, stare down the last remaining pirate, and say in your graveliest voice, "Are you having a lucky feeling, punk?" Get it? Because then they're all, "That's not the quote," and you're all, "Kablam, sucker!" and then you win. Now, the submachine guns in Far Cry 3 are in kind of a tricky spot, what with their poor range and lackluster power, and you might be tempted to just skip them entirely and go right for the more powerful, longer ranged, and all-around batter-ass assault rifles. Yet with higher fire rates and better mobility, as well as available silencers, the SMGs carve themselves out a sneaky, speedy niche. If you're spotted trying to clear an outpost quietly, the A2000 or MP5 will strangle that pirate's cry in his throat, or at least keep him from tripping an alarm. It's also a good way to unleash any caged beasts without drawing attention to yourself, though you'll want to make sure that other walking Lunchables are closer to the cage than you are. In fact, the best stealthy approach starts when you aren't close to anyone at all. Spot enemies from afar with your camera, then pull out your silenced M700 sniper rifle and start picking them off, one by one. If anyone spots a body or gets spooked by a missed shot, be sure to take out the nearest alarm box to prevent any outgoing calls for reinforcements.
We're sorry. Your desperate plea for salvation cannot be answered at this time. If you are hearing this message, the number you are calling may have been disconnected, or you may be about to die horribly. To send a fax, press 5 now.
This sniper strategy works for big game hunting as well. Tagged animals are easier to track, and long-range, high-damage shots minimize your chances of getting this'd. Or that'd. Yet, even the most cautious Far Cry 3 outdoorsman is bound to have a close encounter with some vicious fauna, which is why it's always smart to carry a shotgun. Cue it up on your quick swap button whenever you head overland or hear the telltale growl, and if anything gets close to you, give it a face full of buckshot. Shotguns are also great for the few times you encounter a lot of pirates in a little space, but the most reliable ravager of red-shirted raiders is the assault rifle. There are a few different varieties out there, so to help you understand your ARs, the Gun Show has created a handy taxonomical guidebook. The AK-47 is the rabid dog. Easy to find and can create some health problems for its target, but it's mangy and diseased and froths at the mouth if you even think about adding any modifications. Thankfully, the other ARs are healthy, wild beasts that all take kindly to the evolutionary advantages conferred by sights and extended magazines. The STG is the tiger to the F1's leopard. Both are deadly, but the F1 is quicker to strike with its higher mobility and goes for the jugular with better accuracy. That leaves the MS-16, which is the shark. Striking quickly and then disengaging with its semi-automatic attacks, this nasty number is the apex predator when wielded by a crack shot. Then you've got the light machine guns for when you feel like doing your best Rambo impersonation, but though these bullet-belching behemoths can make you feel like a killing machine, they're best used to clean up any stragglers. Stragglers from what, you might ask? From the barrage of explosives and the blazing inferno, of course! Stealth and gunplay have their place in Far Cry 3, but it is on their knees, genuflecting before the pantheon of mayhem, which is made up by these lofty deities of destruction. Behold, the RPG, god of projectile mayhem and bane of snipers. Woe betide the sniper who taketh aim at the RPG, for lo, his laser sight shall illuminate the pathway to his own explosive demise. Sister to the RPG is the GL-94, goddess of grenadiers and accursed enemy of all vehicular transport. The GL-94 does not abide cars to be driven in its presence, and shall smite them all to a smoldering ruin. Many acolytes of the GL-94 also make a habit of using hand-thrown grenades to create miniature offerings to their chosen deity, and an offering is said to be particularly auspicious if it includes an exploding red barrel or two. Those explosives that taketh not to the air but lie instead upon the firmament are also honored in the pantheon of mayhem, including the mine, also known as the trickster god. Lying in wait for passers-by, but not deigning to distinguish between believer or heathen, the mine bestows its explosive blessing on friend and foe alike. Not as exalted as its brethren, but best beloved by the common folk is the humble C4, patron explosive of the masses. Some see the C4's refusal to detonate by itself as a lack of cleverness and thus do not honor it. But those who put their faith in C4 are well rewarded. Heavily armored enemies, vehicles of land and sea, and all the creatures of the kingdom are laid low by this modest munition. The other explosive gods may have their days, but every day is a good day for C4. There also dwelleth in this land a cadre of fire demons, and they are terrible indeed to behold. Whether spread by flamethrower, flare gun, or Molotov's cocktail, the flames of the island can consume plant, animal, structure, and man alike. Sometimes the blaze may be small, engulfing just one poor soul or a small copse of trees. Such conflagrations are merely distractions, however, when compared to the all-devouring infernos that can rage across wildernesses and outposts without regard for who or what may be caught within. Worship these Ifrit well, puny adventurer, lest ye be consumed by their fiery wrath. And also, craft some syringes or something to keep yourself from catching on wrath. That's good. Now, this gun show may be drawing to an end, but there's plenty more to discover on this mad island. Like the bow that lets you loose arrows at faraway foes like some kind of Mirkwoodian badass. Like the arrows that you use to set things on fire or blow things up. Like signature weapons that you unlock from this hell of cluttered screen that are souped up and expensive versions of the guns you already have. Like the fact that there's an entire second island with entirely new guns on it. We need a montage! And scene. Man, montages are neato. So, what do you think, folks? Did we offer some good travel tips? Got any words of advice for your fellow island adventurers? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and hey, thanks for watching The Gun Show. Oh my god, it's got me! Oh, that's my arm! Oh god, no, the teeth! Oh, get it off, get it off!